I am very privileged to have extremely smart people as members of this channel. Some of them wise old men. And of course that means I cannot wake up one morning and just cook some funny video. Yeah? I can't give them madhogodhanio. I can't. But on the bright side, many times they help me to clear my mind. Many times they help me to see things clearly. But for the purposes of this video, there was a super fascinating discussion very recently, just yesterday, on the forum of the biggest supporters of the Kumekucha Chris brand, the weekly intelligence briefings forum. And a mzee called Larry made it all crystal clear to me. Yeah? And highlighted how ridiculous our current political situation in Kenya today is. Ridiculous because Ruto has not yet gone. Yeah, he's leaving it too late, which is not even good for himself. But let me slow down so that this does not look like a propaganda video. Let me just give you facts. The facts of this life. Now, there are only 3 ways the Ruto presidency can end. Only 3. And all of them end very badly for him as an individual. There is no 4th option. Don't cheat yourself. Okay? So option number 1, by the way, the most unlikely, is that Ruto will survive this and reach 2027 and then somehow win those presidential elections and survive until 2032 and then leave office. Now, this is exactly what happened to President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. A very smart move by Moi. Postponed his exit, yeah, and helped him survive for 10 more years in power. And this danger facing Ruto also worried Moi a lot, and he tried to take precautions by ensuring that he controlled who took over from him. Yeah, and of course he chose as a project Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to succeed him, then a very young rookie politician. And I hope Ruto handlers are taking notes. This is important for their man. Moi's exit strategy of course failed. Mwai Kibaki succeeded him as president, and Moi retired. And contrary to what most people think, Moi did not start relaxing quietly in his Kabarak farm without a care in the world. When Moi left the presidency, he was very busy. Busy doing what? Busy ensuring, number 1, that he would survive out of jail. And number 2, that his looted fortune would also survive him. Now, that was not tall order, but Moi was an extremely smart guy. Very smart. And still, despite his best efforts, they came for him. Oh yes, in case you didn't know, Kibaki insiders crafted a bill and tabled it in parliament. Yeah, and the whole objective was to prosecute Moi for his evils during his 24-year reign as President of the Republic of Kenya. And that bill was going to pass. Make no mistake about it. And Moi was going to spend the rest of his years behind bars. But then somebody saved him. The most unlikely person, the last person you can think, Raila Amolo Odinga, saved him. He marshaled his ODM troops, who were many in parliament in those days, and frustrated that bill. Wacheneni na Moi. Wacha huyo mzee apumzike. Wacha kumsumbua. Bottom line, Moi, despite his smartness, survived by the skin of his teeth. And it is instructive for those who are observant that Moi aged very fast shortly after he left the presidency. Yeah. But now you know why. The man was very stressed. And so back to Ruto. It is highly unlikely that if Ruto makes it and survives and leaves power after 2032, it is highly unlikely that all will be well with him. The second possibility, which in my opinion is also unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely. You will need to stay with me to discover what is the most likely scenario. Yeah, because I know many of us are anxious about what the future holds for Kenyans. Yeah, because it is all linked to the Ruto presidency and how quickly he will exit the presidency. That is the thinking of the vast majority of Kenyans. And so this second scenario is that Ruto resigns before the pressure becomes too much. Okay? Now unfortunately, it is already too late, because a lot of damage has already been done trying to keep Ruto in power. The abductions, the way peaceful protesters have been treated, wamepigwa risasi, wameuawa, etc., etc. All that damage, even if President Ruto resigns right now, will be baggage for Ruto. And I'm afraid will weigh heavily on his fate after he leaves the presidency. And finally, number 3. Yeah, this is what is most likely going to go down. Ruto hangs on desperately to power and does everything possible and even attempts the impossible to remain in power. And so in the end, he will be forced to leave power against his will. And it doesn't matter whether he is removed by force or is forced by circumstances to leave power. It doesn't matter. The results will be the same. And this is what happened most recently to a very strong dictator, a military dictator in a country called Sudan, al-Bashir, who as we speak is still behind bars. Now I believe we have all seen very clearly what the fate of President Ruto is, whichever way you want to look at this problem, which makes the current moves of his regime, I don't know, ridiculous. They don't make sense. It is impossible to understand what the end game may be here. Because at the end of the day, William Ruto is human. And humans have self-preservation at the top of their list of needs. And it gets even more complicated than that, because this is a family man. There are many, many other people who will be affected by his fate. Because, for instance, if he cannot keep his fortune, how are all those people who depend on him going to survive? It's a simple question. And it should be very clear that there's only one way out, and that is for His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto to negotiate for his peaceful exit from power. There is really no other option. Imagine yourself playing chess or playing any other game, and you can foresee how the game will end. You are going to lose badly at some point. It's going to cost you heavily at some point. And therefore you decide to use the only option you have. Oops! You accidentally, in quotes, throw down the chessboard. Game over, because you can easily dispute when somebody says they can remember where all the pieces were. You can easily dispute that. Therefore, game over. You have saved yourself from a very humiliating defeat. This is exactly the situation President Ruto is in right now. Whether he can see it or not, whether his handlers can see it or not, it doesn't change anything. Why is it that we always forget so quickly that this is politics? And there are rules in politics. And it doesn't matter whether we are talking about a military dictatorship or a proper democracy. The rules, when you're dealing with the public, when you have to rule human beings, are the same. And these are the times when I'm very grateful that when I was under the tutelage of my late political lecturer, he insisted so much on that William Shakespeare play, that classic political piece titled Julius Caesar. He insisted on it so much. I got bored. I got annoyed. But the lessons stuck. Politics does not change. Politics has never changed. There is no way you can start inventing new rules of your own, totally ignoring the most important piece in this game: those who are ruled. And what has unfolded in the country called Kenya at the moment is that those who are ruled, the long-suffering ordinary Kenyan, are fed up. And I'm afraid that's it. I of course welcome you to challenge me with any other possibility I may have missed going forward for the Ruto presidency. Maybe there's something I've missed. I am a student of life, and I'm always ready to learn new things. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.